UFC 303 this Saturday in Vegas. Could it get any better? It sure can when you get in with my partners, DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. It is a banger of the card, and the light heavyweight championship is on the line in the main event. New to DraftKings? Check this out. New customers who bet just $5 get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. When you sign up, use the code Sonnen. DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's right. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. From the much anticipated title fights to the exciting undercard bouts, DraftKings is giving customers a shot to get in on the action all night long. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. DraftKings is the one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy, where you got a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers, use my promo code Sonnen. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code Sonnen only at DraftKings Sportsbook. So who do I think will win between Pereira and Prochazka, right? My official prediction, but before I get to it, all I need to know, because they both already know the answer to that question. So everything I'm doing is I'm attempting to project for you, like, sure, to add words, I'm going to go back to their first fight. I'm going to tell you about different positions, and I'm going to talk about the stand-up advantage to Pereira, but if they get on the ground and Prochazka and how good he looked, and if you use Glover Teixeira as a commonality, well, an opponent of one, but the coach and mentor of the other. But that's just to add words. All I'm doing when I'm watching the interviews and the breakdowns between Pereira and Prochazka is trying to find out which one is telling the truth when they say they think they can win. They both already know. It is presented to you, the audience, as two guys that are positive, that have done everything and they've trained and they've sacrificed. These two guys already know. And the question is, which one of them? Which one of them has the tail or the poker hand? I was in a situation in the year 2000. There was a tournament called the University World Championships. They now call it U23. And I had access to a very elite level of training, which is I was able to work out with Randy Couture and Dan Henderson every day. And they were on a different level. They were on the senior level. They were going to the Senior World Championships. So I'm down a grade at the university, but I have access to these training partners, and therefore I'm going to win the whole thing. Now, whether that makes sense or not, I believed it. And I also had a special training exercise for my cardio that nobody else had. They didn't know this workout. If you were curious what that was, it was 3 minutes of jump rope followed by 3 minutes on a heavy bag, 3 minutes of jump rope, 3 minutes of heavy bag, and you did them both 3 times. Now, as I look back at that now and what I know now, that is an extremely easy workout, and I would probably chalk that up to a cool down after a real workout. But at that time of my life, that was all I would do. I would go in the gym and I would do that, but this was this secret workout. Now I'm in better shape than anybody, and I took that with me into the World Championships, and I believed it in the very first round. I wrestled a guy from Estonia who I'd never seen before. I'd never met him. I'd never seen him. We drew each other the first round. I had never touched him until I shook his hand right there and the referee blew the whistle. And I put that dominance, that pace, and that pressure that I had from these secret workouts with my advanced senior level training partners. And the rules of wrestling back then is you had to have 3 points or the match didn't end. Now, if you went the entire match, which was 6 minutes, if you were ahead, which I was ahead 1-0, but we still had to go into overtime. And overtime would exhaust its time, which was 3 minutes, which means all of a sudden you're now in a 9-minute match, unless one guy can get to 3. Fine. As ridiculous as those rules are, which thank goodness wrestling doesn't do anymore, I had to wrestle this guy for 9 minutes. Final score was 1-0. I had never had a 9-minute wrestling match. Even my college wrestling matches were 7 minutes. All of my high school matches were 6. And there wasn't overtime, and there was a way to get to 9 minutes, but I never had. So this was the longest wrestling match that I've ever been in. What nobody understood is it was the hardest match I had ever been in, at least from a cardio standpoint. I had never reached that level of fatigue. So the way the bracketing worked in wrestling is even if you guys met up, there was a way to meet up again in the finals. There was something that used to be known as a cross bracket. So the guy from Estonia that I have in the very opening match, the next day I have for the gold medal. And you would think, as my coaches did and as my parents did and as any onlookers did, that whatever confidence I had going into that first match with him, whether that was up or down, but whatever the confidence was, if I'm going to wrestle the same guy one day later, who, by the way, I just beat, my confidence would be more. Can we agree on that, logically speaking? And that's the way I acted and that's the way I pretended. But I had a secret that nobody else knew. And my secret was I was very apprehensive to go back to the vulnerable spot that I was in, specifically the fatigue that I had reached with this guy. I was aware what a hard match that was going to be. I was aware of what kind of fight it was going to take. And I'd already done it once and beat him in the same tournament. And I didn't think it was right in the first place that he could, like, even if he beats me, well, now we're tied one apiece, but he gets the gold medal. Like, it was just one of these things. But I kept it to myself and I had no way to express it. In fact, I've never expressed it until right this moment, 24 years later. And I don't offer it to you as a counseling session. It's not one of those that haunts me. But it is something and a tool and a piece of information that I have. So when I watch Prochazka and I watch Pereira, regardless of the fact that they first fought, regardless that Prochazka was the favorite, regardless that Pereira beat him, and not regardless that Pereira stopped him, as a matter of fact, regardless of it, doesn't look like it was all that hard of a fight. I mean, it was scheduled for up to 25 minutes, and he stopped him in around 7 or 8 minutes. This is off the top of my head. Don't think you need to correct me. My point is, it didn't go the duration. It was not a back-and-forth battle. It wasn't like Pereira the night that he won the World Championship, where he's down 4 rounds and has to finish in the 5th. But while those things might appear to be accurate, there's a secret, and there's something that only those two athletes know. And my father was never like okay with fighting or street fighting or something like that. He was not. But like so many dads, there was days when he rolled his sleeves up after work and moved the coffee table, and he would show me, if something like this happened, things that you can do to make sure you prevail. But one thing he was a very big believer in is that if that happens and you win, you want to win by a lot. And my dad, it was never about hurting the other kid. That was never his mentality on beat him by a lot. You got to beat him bad. Whatever, you got to do it. His belief was if you beat him, he's going to want revenge. He's going to want to get his buddies. He's going to want to find you again, or he's going to want to try again. You have to prove the point that you do not want to try this again. This is now settled between us. This is the way it went. We go our separate ways. It's very hard to do. My father's philosophy is right. I'll give you an example. It pertains to Prochazka specifically, but one of the great minds of MMA is King Mo Lawal. King Mo, he knows grappling. Like if you were going to submission match, you'd want him in your corner. If you were going into a straight up wrestling match, you'd want him in your corner. If you're going to a boxing match, you would want him in your corner. Like he is one of the great minds of combat. He fought Jiri Prochazka. He beat him. As a matter of fact, King Mo TKO'd him. And King Mo came out of that match, the winner, by stoppage. He said, I never want to fight that guy again. And it was back to the theory that my dad had, but it was in reverse. The victor, the guy who won, learned enough about the opponent, in this case Prochazka, he said, I never want to fight him again. And Mo said that you can't see it on the outside. You can only feel the spirit and the will of Prochazka when you're in there with him. You can only feel when you hit him as hard as you can that he'll grunt as he's coming forward, as opposed to stopping or backing away or trying to catch his breath. Like Mo was trying to explain this to me. And I didn't know it about Prochazka, and I hadn't seen it. But I'd had my experience at the University World Championships with this guy from Estonia. And I did understand what Mo was saying, that regardless of outcome, you will find things out within that match. And if you can get it in the rear view and never revisit it, you're better off. The very next day, the guy from Estonia, who I had beaten, beat me. And King Mo had to rematch Prochazka, the guy who he had stopped. And Prochazka beat him. So when I tell you that there's things that the audience can't see, and when I tell you that the two athletes know, they know. Now, they will cling to and hang their hat on the idea of, and then you can fill in the blank, which is, what if he has a bad night? What if he slips? What if his shoulder goes back out? What if I can set up with my hook and land my cross? That can put him down. Like, as unlikely as it is, and as much as it's probably not going to happen, and I really don't want to face this guy, I do have a way to go. I am a competitor, and I am a man, and I am going to prepare, and I'm going to hope for the best. But that is still what one of them is doing. They are both pretending, and they're both acting, and they're both conducting and carrying on. But your job as the viewer is to see which one is telling the truth. And you will generally have the great blink in the willingness. One of them, particularly on short notice, is going to be more willing to accept than the other. And that just didn't happen here. It just didn't. They both came forward and came together. You got two real warriors here. You got two guys with real spirit here. You got two guys who have felt each other, respect each other, but understand what needs to be done to defeat the other one. So when I'm asked who's going to win between Pereira and Prochazka, I don't ever have to think about left hand, right hand, southpaw, orthodox, conditioning, strength, experience. I don't have to think about any of those things because I know they both already know. And now it's just a game of figuring out which one's telling the truth. And in this case, the one who's telling the truth is Alex Pereira.